All right, everybody, let's get ready because we are going deep today, deep into the world of ab workouts.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those things we all want,
Oh,
right?
the Holy Grail.
Exactly. We're hitting up YouTube, where all the fitness gurus are hanging out these days, and we're going to break down routines from 5 of the most popular channels.
Sounds intense.
It is intense. We've got everything quick, 5-minute blasts, 2-week challenges are all promising, that six-pack.
Everyone wants that sculpted look, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're going to look at. But, I got to ask, are we going to see real techniques or is it all just clever marketing?
That's the big question, is it? And what's really interesting to me is how many different approaches there are out there.
So many, right?
It's like everyone's got their own secret formula for amazing abs.
Exactly. So I had to dig in and see what these fitness stars are really serving up.
So did you find any surprises?
Well, going through these videos, I'm already wondering, are we seeing real techniques or just, clever marketing?
Right, right. I mean, that's something we should definitely keep in mind as we, kind of break these routines down.
Yeah, sure.
But I did notice right off the bat that we see a lot of, familiar exercises, planks, crunches, leg raises, the usual suspects.
Yeah.
But the way they're incorporated and emphasized it really differs from routine to routine.
Okay, so spill the tea. Which YouTuber stood out to you the most?
Well, Pamela Rafe, with her super popular 10-minute routine,
Oh, yeah, she's huge.
huge. She seems to be going for overall toning and calorie burn with her routine.
Makes sense.
Very fast-paced and dynamic. She's hitting all the major ab muscle groups. But what I think is really interesting is the way she combines those exercises with like high-intensity bursts.
Okay, so I know she's known for these super efficient full body workouts, so it makes sense she wouldn't just isolate abs.
Right.
But is that enough to really build strength, or is it more about, just the aesthetic?
That's a great question, and that's where the science gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
So you might not be lifting heavy weights with her routine,
Right.
but those high-intensity intervals, they actually create these tiny little micro tears in the muscle fibers, and then those fibers, they rebuild stronger.
Oh, wow.
So even without traditional weight training, you can actually see significant strength gains from this type of approach.
So Pamela's all about those quick, intense bursts. Did anyone else take a similar approach?
Actually, no, not really. That's what I think makes this so fascinating.
Okay.
So Lily Sabri, for example, she also goes for a high-intensity approach in her 5-minute blast routine.
Okay.
But her focus is way more targeted. Like she really emphasizes specific areas like, belly fat and waistline reduction.
Yeah.
Almost like her entire routine is sculpted around these very specific aesthetic goals.
Okay, so that's a different philosophy for sure. Do you think that hyper-targeted approach is actually more effective for someone who's trying to, trim their waistline?
That's where things get a little tricky
Oh.
because you can't actually spot reduce fat
Right.
in specific areas.
Yeah.
Fat loss happens throughout the body as a result of overall calorie deficit and exercise.
Gotcha.
So while working those muscles can definitely make them stronger and more defined, it won't magically melt away fat in just that one spot.
Right, okay. So it's more about the overall impact of the workout rather than trying to isolate one specific area.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. What about those YouTubers who really emphasized consistency and building that, mind-muscle connection? Did any of those stand out to you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucy Windom-Red, for example. She really stresses the importance of daily practice, like with her 7-day challenge.
Yeah.
It's all about boosting your metabolism and gradually reducing inches
Right.
through consistent low-impact exercises. And her whole philosophy just seems to revolve around, building that mind-muscle connection.
Okay, so I've heard that term thrown around a lot, mind-muscle connection.
Right.
But to be honest, I'm not really sure what it means in practice. Is it just about, focusing really hard when you're working out?
It's more than just, concentrating. It's about consciously engaging the specific muscles that you're targeting. Think of it like you're creating this direct line of communication between your brain and your abs.
Okay. Yeah.
And when you have that connection, you can actually activate the muscles more effectively, which should lead to better results.
Makes sense.
And it can also reduce your risk of injury.
So it's like you're really tuning into those muscles.
Exactly.
Making sure they're doing the work.
Yeah.
Not just going through the motions.
Absolutely.
That's really interesting. It makes me think about, sometimes I feel like I'm barely breaking a sweat during some ab exercises.
Right.
Maybe I'm just not truly, engaging those muscles.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's really common to compensate with other muscle groups if you're not fully, tuned in to the ones that you're supposed to be working.
Wow. Okay.
And that's where proper form comes in. which is another like key theme I noticed across all these videos.
Yes, every single one of them stressed how important technique is. And some even offered modifications for different fitness levels.
Yep.
It was almost like they were anticipating people trying to push themselves too hard too soon.
Absolutely. And that's so important, especially for beginners.
Right.
Starting with proper form and gradually increasing the intensity is so much more effective than trying to just jump into these advanced moves right away.
Yeah, you're going to hurt yourself.
Exactly. You get injured.
Yeah.
It's about building that solid foundation, not just chasing after quick results.
Right.
And that's actually where CultFit's 2-week challenge really stood out to me.
Okay. How so?
They really prioritize building core strength through really controlled and precise movements.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It's interesting.
They seemed a lot less focused on, those flashy high-intensity moves and more on building like a really strong core base,
Yeah.
which I think a lot of people overlook.
Yeah, for sure. It's like building a house. You need a strong foundation before you can add all the fancy features.
That's a great analogy.
Right. And a weak core can actually increase your risk of injury, especially when you're doing other types of workouts.
So strong abs aren't just about aesthetics.
Yeah.
They're about creating a foundation for, overall fitness and preventing injury.
Exactly.
That's something that I think gets lost in all the, six-pack hype.
Yeah, it's about functionality, just as much as it is about appearance.
Right.
And that kind of brings us back to that question that you posed earlier.
Okay.
Are these YouTube workouts just clever marketing, or are they actually offering, real value?
Right after going through all of this, I'm starting to see that there's a lot more nuance to it than I initially thought. It's not just about, finding the most intense workout or the one that promises the fastest results.
Right. It's about finding an approach that aligns with your goals, your fitness level, and your understanding of your own body.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's about being informed and making choices that support your overall well-being.
Okay, so with all of these different philosophies and techniques out there on YouTube,
Yep.
how can someone choose a workout that's right for them? It feels kind of overwhelming just thinking about it.
That's a fantastic question, and it's one we're definitely going to dive into next.
Okay.
Because there are some key things to look for when you're evaluating these online workouts. And luckily, we have a whole stack of videos to use to illustrate those points.
Perfect. All right, so we've seen that YouTube is like this massive library of ab workouts.
It is.
But with like so many options out there,
Yeah.
it can be hard to know where to even start.
Right.
What are some things we should look for when we're trying to figure out if an online routine is good?
Okay. Well, the first thing I always tell people
Yeah.
is to check the instructor's credentials.
That's smart.
Yeah. Are they a certified fitness professional?
Mm-hmm.
Do they have a background in, kinesiology, physical therapy, anything like that?
Right.
Usually a quick Google search can tell you a lot about their expertise.
Makes total sense. It's easy to get swept up in someone's personality.
Oh, yeah.
You know how energetic they are and stuff?
Oh.
But you want to make sure that they actually know what they're doing,
Absolutely.
especially when it comes to, your health.
Exactly. And, even if they are certified,
Right.
it's still a good idea to pay attention to how they communicate.
Okay.
Do they explain the exercises clearly?
Yeah.
Do they, emphasize proper form? Do they offer modifications
Yeah.
for different fitness levels? These are all signs of a good instructor who, really cares about safety and effectiveness.
I've definitely been guilty of just like blindly following along with a video
Oh, yeah.
without really understanding what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like, I don't even realize I'm doing something wrong until I feel it in my back or my neck.
Oh, yeah. And that's why it's so important to listen to your body
Yeah,
and not push yourself, beyond your limits.
for sure.
It's also a good idea to start with shorter routines
Okay.
and then gradually increase, the duration and intensity as you get stronger.
Makes sense.
Remember, consistency is key. It's way better to do a 10-minute workout 3 times a week
Right.
than to try and cram in a 30-minute session and then just feel sore and discouraged for days.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, speaking of feeling discouraged,
Yeah.
we got to talk about the mental side of fitness.
Oh, absolutely.
It's easy to compare yourself to others, especially on social media.
Yeah.
You see all these like perfect bodies.
Yeah. And it's so easy to get caught up in that comparison trap.
Totally.
But it's so important to remember that, everyone's body is different. Progress takes time.
Yeah.
There are going to be ups and downs. It's about focusing on your own journey, not somebody else's highlight reel.
I love that that's such a good point.
Right.
It's about celebrating what your body can do.
Yes. And don't be afraid to experiment. Find what works for you.
Yeah.
If you hate a particular exercise,
Uh-huh.
there are always variations or alternative. Fitness should be enjoyable, not a punishment.
Right. It shouldn't feel like a chore. Okay, so for someone who's like super overwhelmed with all the options,
Yeah.
what advice would you give them for getting started?
Hmm. I would say start by identifying your goals.
Okay.
What are you trying to achieve?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to build strength, increase endurance tone, specific areas, just improve your overall fitness?
Right.
Once you have a clear goal in mind, it makes it way easier to, narrow down your choices
Yeah.
and find a program that aligns with, what you want to do.
That's great advice. And don't be afraid to, try different things,
Yeah.
different styles, different instructors
Yeah,
until you find something that clicks for you.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, this has been such a cool look into ab workouts.
It has.
We debunked some myths, we looked at different philosophies,
Yeah,
and hopefully everyone listening feels more empowered
I hope so.
to make good choices about their fitness journey.
Me too.
Yeah, this has been great.
It's been fun breaking down these routines with you.
Likewise, and remember, everyone, knowledge is power when it comes to fitness. Use what you've learned today. Find a routine you enjoy, stay consistent, and, celebrate your progress.
And remember, the perfect ab workout is the one that works for you.
Exactly. Listen to your body, be patient, and most importantly, have fun.
Have fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.